I was also on Netflix. I went more of a funnier route. What I thought was going to be funny, which is the Kevin Hart and the Chris Rock special, the headliner one. And I really thought I was going to watch literally a comedy special, and it was nothing like that, which is cool because I actually like more of behind the scenes. I just thought it was going to be behind the scenes and then a bit of the actual special. Like, maybe I'm spoiled because of the Beyonce movie where it was like behind the scenes and then the concert. So I was thinking behind the scenes and some jokes. But it was just really more of kind of like a documentary style. So I still got lessons from it. So first one is, of course, the importance of collaboration. Two major comedians in the game, and they did a headliner in Madison Square Garden. We just can't pass by that. It's cool how the brother of Chris Rock actually referred them both as like Jordan and Kobe, and how Chris Rock clearly is looked at as Jordan, but with Kevin Hart never felt like he was too small or too big to ask questions. They actually reference when Kobe and Jordan were on the court together, and Kobe was asking questions even in the middle of the game on some, how'd you did that kind of spin move? And Jordan was actually giving the game even during the whole situation while they're facing each other. And this is what Kevin Hart did with Chris Rock. No matter where he was, he asked questions. They understood they have two different styles, and it's not really about competing. It's really about how do we work together to give some of the best experience to our audience. And I thought that was really powerful. They also brought up the Kings of Comedy, and they had Cedric the Entertainer and D.L. Hughley, and kind of breaking down why they collaborated and how together they broke records, and they couldn't necessarily do that by themselves in that, in that time span. I do believe, because some people will be like, you're going to tell me that I can't do it by myself? No, I'm just trying to cut down the time frame, right? Trying to cut down the time frame. So that part was really dope to see. One random lesson that I don't know if you caught on to, never go to a meeting hungry. That was a random lesson that Chris Rock gave to Kevin Hart, where if you're going to a meeting, your hangry self should never show up to an actual meeting. It's even if it's one of those meetings that you got to sit and eat anyways, right? Kind of a luncheon situation. Have an appetizer, have some bread. Never go in hungry, which I thought was really dope because, you could say clearly there's some words that he said, but you could say some dumb stuff if you go into a meeting hangry. So that was a random lesson that I was like, man, I never even thought about that. Okay, always have something before a meeting. Good. Even if it's virtual, people, never go to a meeting hangry, all right? And then something that stood out to me was pretty much closer to the end, where Chris Rock kind of said, like, yo, I can't go into the Hall of Fame if I'm still playing. Yeah. On him still, like, even though people see him as the GOAT, that literally Kevin Hart gave him a GOAT. Y'all probably seen the picture. Isaiah will probably put it up with Chris Rock, Kevin Hart, and Dave Chappelle. And he was still like, you've never seen a player go into the Hall of Fame and still playing. I'm still playing, and I'm still good at it. And really understanding, I think that's more of a self-awareness side of it, where you will know if you're kind of declining and when to kind of bow out. He still sees himself as a prime player and still going and putting up shots. And it's true because he's still selling out. You know, he's still very seeked out. He's still having specials till this day, and he's been in the game for years. This one is a really good look back at both of their lives, because it goes all the way back to when Chris Rock started and his start, and how he met up with Eddie Murphy and flew out to LA, and that was, you know, he did everything from In Living Color to Saturday Night Live, and just his journey of how it happened, and for him to be like, I'm still playing. A cool part, I don't know if you noticed this one, was with Chris Rock, how he didn't narrow down, and this goes into the niche topic of, he didn't narrow down who he was speaking to. The only thing he really narrowed down at a certain point was that he was speaking to New Yorkers. Wasn't speaking to black and brown New Yorkers. Not only speaking to white New Yorkers, he was speaking to just New Yorkers, because he had home advantage. He was from New York, but he had, there was a joke where he was saying, and of course I'm paraphrasing and I'm not making it funny, but the point of, yo, I'm dangerous because I can say everything the white people said, but I can also talk to my black people that the white people can't even touch, right? And understanding that crossover and not being too one-sided or the other-sided, because he can understand that, yo, I'm trying to get people, period. No race, no ethnicity, nothing like that, just people. And by doing so, you will see a diverse audience in his crowd. You will see all different types of ethnicities and backgrounds, and it's amazing to see where some people, even D.L. Hughley talked about it, where it's like, yo, I got one move, I got one trick for my community, for my culture, right? And so I look at that as really, once again, on the self-awareness side, but also the strategic side of branding yourself. Don't box me into just what I look like. If I'm trying to reach global masses, if I'm trying to always sell out, I can't just speak to one type. I gotta speak to all, especially if I'm trying to get to arenas and stadiums and that whole nine. I think it also depends on the goals. Like, how big do you want this to be, right? And understanding that there will have to be that openness and that crossover that has to happen if you do. So those are some of the lessons that I learned from that Netflix special. I really liked it. I do wish they did play a little bit of the jokes, not all of it clearly, because I feel like that we would be there forever, but just a little bit here and there. I think that would have been really dope. But I do appreciate the behind the scenes, the intentionality of documenting. Hey, we're going to do this together. Let's now document that. That's just a different, I think that's just almost a new norm when we're talking about anything that we create that is of the masses. Like, yo, let's do some behind the scenes. The second we start talking about it, the second that it's an idea and we all agree to it, let's get some cameras on it. Let's document the process and see what it can turn out. So.
Yeah. I think there might have been some business agreement that led to that decision, by the way, because what I noticed was Chris Rock has his own Netflix special that is what looks like, at least based on the outfit that I saw him wearing, it was the same exact outfit he had on stage when Kevin Hart gave him the GOAT at one of the shows. So it looks like he has that as his own special, and then Kevin Hart is selling his, I think I saw it where you can rent it or buy it on Amazon Prime. So it looks like they just did something separately, although they were on the same stage, and then there was that behind the scenes that was done jointly. So it looks like a business thing. that's what I'm just making of it. Because I started to watch Chris Rock's, the comedy portion of I guess his stand-up portion. I started to watch that on Netflix the other night because the same thing happened to me. I ran into that. I'm like, oh wait, let me fast forward this because the intro's taking a little long. I know Kevin Hart is known for having some pretty long intros. So I was like, oh, this is just behind the scenes dialogue all the way through. But I did like the part. You seen the part where Kevin Hart walks into Chris Rock's locker room and he sees all these note cards.
Yes.
And he's like, this is how I pick my jokes. And it just showed that real introvert, extrovert dynamic. And then Kevin Hart walked out like, dang, look like I got some work to do because I don't go about it like this at all. So that was cool to see too.
Yeah, no, that process, and for those people who haven't seen the special, go see it. It's really dope. But that process of looking at it and how he said, yo, if today I may want what we started in the beginning to go in at the end and change up the middle and add Trump into it because Trump is trending. I think that's understanding where we are in the world, who's your audience, and customizing it to that particular day, that particular event. So I think that's a whole nother level of mastery that we gotta kind of just take note. So, but yeah, that was a good special. Good special.